Tonight, we officially kick off the 2024 broadcast season. The APFL rookie drafts are complete, and we have a new title sponsor for the 2024 season. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Sport Management Solutions. And I know that's probably a new title that you're not used to hearing, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. Sean out there with us, and let's go. Sean, how are you? Happily married man since the last time we were on a broadcast, so congratulations to that, my friend. I'm glad to see it and hear it. So a couple things that we said at the beginning of the show. We said that this is the start of the 2024 broadcast season, but this is not the start of the 2024 season for us as we know it. There has been a lot of behind-the-scene things that have been going on since our last broadcast, which I think was broadcast 39 of season 9, which means this is episode 1 of season 10 of us doing this stuff live on the internet. That's crazy to me as I was putting that all together today. So things that happened since our last broadcast I want to bring up. JB, how are you? I'm glad to see you on, man, and hope that you are on the mend. JB been spending some time in the hospital. Hopefully he's feeling a little bit better. Damian Gratz, what's up with you? And closer to the start of the season every day. I'm glad to see you're on, Ferg, because you've been kind of radio silent lately as well. And making sure that you were okay. I think you ended up with a pick in the draft, but did you actually end up taking that pick? I don't remember. You are alive. I hope that means you're alive as well. So some of the things that happened in the offseason since our last broadcast. So for those of you that know what the APFL is, the Alliance Professional Fantasy League, that is our dynasty league that we have. That is the NFL Emulation League with 32 teams. We lost a couple of teams in the offseason, so we needed to replace those. And I can't thank enough to the new APFL general managers who ended up taking over the Indianapolis, the Philadelphia, and the Cleveland franchises. I wanted to make sure that they got their due diligence tonight so we could show off the new logos. So with new general managers, we get new logos as well. So let me see if I can get myself out of the way here just a little bit. So on the Indianapolis side, we changed the team name from the Stallions to the Four Horsemen. And a lot of people are going to say, well, there's only 2 horses there. However, when you have that same logo on both sides of the helmet, you get the Four Horsemen. And I got to thank ET for taking over that franchise. And then we have what used to be the Philadelphia Harpies are now the Philadelphia Steagles. If you go back and know anything about your NFL history, when the Steelers and the Eagles had to combine during World War II, they unofficially named themselves the Steagles. We decided to go ahead and make sure that the logo represented both of those teams. Now, this team will actually be out of Philadelphia, but as you can see, it has the likeness of both Pittsburgh and Philadelphia on there. And I can't thank David enough for taking over that team. And then we have the Cleveland Dogs, who are now the Cleveland Canines. Not much of a stretch there, new logo there, but the way that the team name happened was kind of by accident, as a little inside joke on the Discord chat. So if you're not part of the Discord, you need to go over there and catch up with everything. So thank you to Eric for taking over that team as well. So we are now in the broadcast season. Eric P out there with us. How are you? Ferg says, my first pick was at the end of the second. This year draft was awesome. A lot of great picks for everybody. It was a good draft, and I'm glad that you brought that up because that was actually the next topic we were going to talk about. That is the APFL rookie drafts on both sides of the AFC and NFC are complete. I think we ended up finishing the NFC either late last night or early this morning. I don't know how that planned out, but I know the AFC completed theirs sooner than the NFC. So for once, the AFC actually won something. So both of those are done. I don't have any draft analysis for you. I don't have any rankings for you or anything like that. The powers that be that usually do that have decided they're not going to do that this year, and that is okay. That is okay that they don't want to do that. It's just an extra added touch that we've had in years past. We're just probably not going to have this year unless after we get through the free agency part of everything, somebody wants to do it. Sean out there saying we are back. We are back, and I am glad to have you back with us again this year. You scared me last year whenever I asked you if you were going to return, and you said no with a lot of dots after it and said, no, I'm coming back and I'm dominating. That made me feel good. I know that you're all in on this thing. The APFL rookie drafts are done. So we're talking about maybe not ranking these teams until after free agency is open and done. But free agency is going to open and stay open, and it's going to open up a lot sooner than what we're used to. So we're done with the draft on both sides. So we could open up free agency right now if we wanted to. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to open up free agency on Monday. And then the first round of waiver wire runs is going to happen on Wednesday. And then after Wednesday, it's first come, first serve. And it's going to run every Wednesday until the season starts. Now, a couple of people were asking me this question. I hope you do, man. You need to dominate this year. I think you're going to have a great opportunity to be able to do it, especially the way that we're going to run the WRL this year, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. What we're going to do for the free agency, the waiver wire, and the APFL, I had already put it out on Discord, and I got a couple questions about it. And I got the same question last year, actually, too, that I said, come Monday, I am going to wipe out all the current free agency acquisitions that are out there right now. Reason for that is free agency hadn't been officially announced yet. And the way that it works in the APFL, if there is a tie in FAB, the first person that puts it in gets it. And because we haven't officially started free agency, I don't want anybody's pending waiver wire moves that are out there to affect or allow them to get somebody just because they put it in sooner when we really even haven't hit that season yet. So come Sunday night, early Monday morning, I'm going to wipe everybody clean. As we talk about it through the rest of the week, I'll let you all know when the hard time is for that, of when you can start putting your moves in for it. And then the first run will happen on Wednesday. And then we will go to first come, first serve after that. And then we will run this waiver wire for the FAB every Wednesday night until the season gets started. And then maybe somewhere along there, we might be able to get some rankings in there based on the draft and some free agencies as we get ready to go into the regular season, which we tried to do last year, but we didn't have a whole lot of participation, hoping that maybe we can do the same thing. Kevin, thank you for helping out with that last year. That maybe we'll be able to do the same thing this upcoming season and see if we can get some rankings of where people might finish inside their divisions, who might win the conference, and who might win the bowl. All right. So that will take care of all of the stuff that we've had happen since our last broadcast. Sort of. That will take care of all of the competition stuff that we've had happen since our last broadcast. But we have something new to announce to you all. You probably heard it at the top of the show because it was a little bit different than what you're used to when we said that we have a new title sponsor this year. That new title sponsor is Sport Management Solutions. And for the rest of the show, I want to make sure that I have them running across the bottom and saying thank you to our new title sponsor, Sport Management Solutions. So let me tell you what Sport Management Solutions is. It is your one-stop shop for athletic communications, and they are here to make a difference. Whether it's web maintenance, writing recaps, updating record books, or adding archives, Sport Management Solutions delivers efficiency and value to schools and conferences. For all your athletic communication needs, trust and contact Sport Management Solutions. So if you want to know more about them, go out on Google, type in Sport Management Solutions. You will find them. Brent, who is the founder of and the operator of SMS, he is out there on LinkedIn. He is on Facebook. He has his own website, which I'm going to show you a little bit right now, if I can remember how to do this portion of it. There we go. There is his website right there. You can see the universities that he has worked with. We will go under the full list in just a second. You can see the testimonials that are there. You can contact them there as well. Anything that you need for any sport management solutions. I know we have a couple administrators out there at the high school level. If you would like to have anything on your sports side of the house done, reach out to Brent. He already has all of these schools on his resume, and I already know that he has many, many more on his docket right now to work with. So if you get a chance to, make sure you go out and look up and look into SMS. He would really appreciate it. I would appreciate it. They're with us all year. We're going to make this better. All right. So in addition to SMS as our new title sponsor, we would like to welcome back two of our 2023 plus sponsors, as we have Nature Coast Apparel coming back to us as well, the official apparel of FSA, and the Recasts, as you heard them on our opening credits, like you do every week, the official music of FSA. Thank you to all of those guys for returning with us in 2024. We have a few things in 2023 that were some hanging chads that we still needed to take care of. I wanted to make sure that I put it out there for everybody. So they wanted to make sure that FSA was a person of their word of the person, a man of their word, whatever you want to say. We owe last year's Fanatically Real champion a set of cornhole boards made by Nature Coast Tailgating, which that is getting ready to be dropped or has been dropped, and they are now Nature Coast Apparel. I reached out to the owner of Nature Coast Apparel, Nature Coast Tailgating Apparel, and make sure that we were still good to be able to have the cornhole boards done for our champion. And Brandon said, yep, still good to go. So I will be getting with Anthony Monhe, who was the world champion last year, on Friday, and we're going to work through making sure that we get his boards designed for him so we can make sure that we were people of our word and that we get those done. And in addition to that, I've reached out to Eric Poole, who is going to be the designer of our t-shirt graphic that will be on there for the Grey Cup winner, which is going to go to Sean Purcell. I've already talked to both Anthony and Sean. They were aware that this is going to happen. Eric told me that it's probably going to be sometime in May before he gets around to doing that graphic for Sean, but it's going to be awesome. I promise. If you've never seen any work done by Eric Poole, go look him up, and it's ERIC, and last name is Poole, Poole. The man does amazing work. Go out and see what he's done. He's done a couple of things for us in the past. One of them you can physically see right here on the broadcast tonight. This is an etched and painted version of the graphic work that he has done for me in the past. He is also the one that did the pile when we had the 48 teams in the Redraft League. And I think that was the year that the Detroit Muscle team won that year. Eric did that graphic for us as well. It will be worth the wait, Sean. I promise you it will. The guy does amazing work. So talented. As you can see, this graphic right here and the one that we had for the pile years ago, Eric does amazing work. So once we get it on a t-shirt, it's going to be awesome. And I think, and I didn't want to say it out loud because I kind of wanted it to be a surprise, but I might as well put it out there. Maybe even the best part of it all, egotistically speaking, I'm going to hand deliver this t-shirt to you because you've waited on it long enough. You've been patient long enough. Once we get it created, I'm bringing it to you at your house. So I'm driving it over to the other side of the state, and I'm bringing it to you. So we'll get this t-shirt done for you. We'll get the cornhole boards done for Anthony, and we will get those delivered to you both. So the whole reason that we're going to be doing both of these cornhole boards and the Grey Cup t-shirt is because of the results of the Fanatically Real Redraft League, which is a mouthful, that is being redubbed next year as the Wizard Redraft League, the WRL. Reason we're doing that is it's shorter. WRL is easier to say. The Walter the Wizard has already been our logo forever. I figured why not just go ahead and cover the WRL. So we will be transitioning from the Fanatically Real Redraft to the WRL in the 2024 season. Oh, man. Actually, I would say the best part of it was me coming to bring you the t-shirt, but the best part is the stakes at the finish line. I can't wait for that part of it. I'm going to push to make sure that this t-shirt gets done even sooner. I need steak like you have no idea. Sean says if you're cooking, he's coming too. Just so you know, he'd be coming all the way from New York. So that's a heck of a travel for some steaks, but I'm sure that they've been worth it. They will be worth it because we've seen the pictures of your steak cooking abilities on Discord. So let's stick with the WRL, the Wizard Redraft League for the 2024 season, and talk about it for a little bit. So the regional manager selection. So for those of you who don't know and maybe are hearing this for the first time, what we're going to do this year is, instead of keeping everybody inside their geographical regions like we've done in year past, we're going to have a draft of general managers this year. But first, before we do that, we have to have the picks of the regional managers that are going to run those regions. Damian out with us. I want to say congratulations, but that's all I'm going to say, because I don't know how much we're allowed to say. And I just love scratching the surface of things for everybody else to question things. So congratulations to Damian. Brent Hager out there. Brent, I don't know how much you've seen of the show already or not. Everybody, Brent Hager in the house with us. He is the founder and the current operator, as far as I know, the only guy operating Sport Management Solutions. If you have any questions for him about SMS, ask him right here live on air tonight. Go out, check out the website, come back and ask him questions. Anything you need to know, I can relay information for you as well. It is your one-stop shop for all your sport management solutions. And I promise you, I have never met an individual that is this dedicated to anything in life as Brent is to SMS. If you need anything, I promise you it is going to exceed your expectations of what you're looking for. He is going to outdo himself and outdo anything that you want. So WRL and the regional manager selection is going to happen soon. I'm trying to get Kevin narrowed down at a time where we can get online together, where we can talk about this and we can do a mock interview so we can see what it's going to look like for the rest of the regional managers as we interview for them to take over these regions and draft who is going to be the general managers inside their regions this year. Again, no regional formats as far as what we're used to geographically. We are going to have the regional managers pick the people that they want inside their region. They are going to be competitive inside their own right because of the way that they are drafted. And then that regional manager is trying to pick the best general manager so we can have an overall champion of the WRL this year, which is going to lead to something for the 2025 season. We are still picking at that to see what that's going to look like. More to follow on that. We have a lot of time before the football season. It'll probably go very fast, but we will give you details as we go. I appreciate that. Thank you. So for those that don't know this jersey, this was our first edition. In fact, it says this, I got to go the other way. First edition on this sleeve. We ran these, Lord, as I think about it now, it's been 8 years, I think, since we ran the last version of these, which was our only version. It's the first edition, and really we should say only edition at this point, of this jersey. Throw it on usually the very first show of the year, and then, randomly throughout the season and stuff like that. Love the jersey. The company that did this is the same company that does the Women's Professional Football League that's out there. We got lucky enough to find this company. Happened to be stationed in Hawaii at the time when we found it, and there actually happened to be a salesperson stationed right there on the island that worked for the company and was able to get these jerseys done. I think we did 21 or 22 during the first year. And my thought has always been, let's make a second edition of these jerseys. And what we were going to do was make sure that we had Walter on one side, and then we were just going to put the soft side of a Velcro patch on the other side. For those of you that have been with us long enough that have gotten the regional patches, you could just slap it on your sleeve, and then you could just go. So you'd have the generic overall FSA jersey, and then you would be able to show off your regional pride by throwing the logo on there on the soft side of the Velcro patch. So maybe as we get things going here in the 2024, 2025, 2026 season, which we're going to talk about here in a second, maybe we'll be able to bring a copy of these back for everybody and make it look a little bit different. But thank you for that, Damien. I appreciate it. So recap on the WRL again. So I will be sitting down with Kevin sometime soon. We're going to be talking about what it looks like for what we need for regional managers and do a mock interview with him. That way I can figure out what the interview should look like with the rest of the regional managers that have thrown their names in a hat. I think we're at a total of like 9 or 10 that wanted to be in there. We're only going to be able to pick 5 because we are looking to do 60 teams for the Redraft League, the WRL, next year. And then that means the GM draft will follow not too long after that. But what we're also trying to work with Kevin and I are getting general manager cards put together. Going to be information for the regional managers to be able to look at of the general managers to make a decision on who they want on their team. So we are working on both of those things. Hopefully also on Friday, whenever I have a chance to talk to Anthony about his cornhole boards. So as we're talking about that WRL in the 2024 season, let's talk about some new updates for the 2024 season, okay? So let's talk broadcast for a second. All right, we're going to continue doing the Fanatically Real broadcast, which you are watching tonight, Season 10, Episode 1, which still blows my mind that we've done it for this long. This show will be a staple. We will be on Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. East Coast time for however many weeks that we need to do it. We literally did 39 shows last year, and I think the year before was COVID year. And if you go back, we really did a lot of broadcasts even in the COVID year, which really surprised me we did as many as we did. But we're also thinking about bringing in a new show. Now, this show has been in the back of our minds, been worked towards all the way back to late April of last year when Jason, who is the general manager of the Dayton Cavalry, had come to visit me here in Georgia from Ohio, and we were working on the possibility of a new broadcast for the 2023 season that we just weren't able to pull the trigger on because of all of life getting in the way with all of the things that happened from August on in 2023. And the name of the show was going to be End of the Third Quarter. Now, we had some conversations on Discord earlier today that if we were trying to figure out what does the end of the third quarter look like from a fantasy perspective, we said that Thursday games is probably the first quarter, or Thursday games and anything that happens on Saturday, and maybe any games that are played early on Sunday during the international series is counted as quarter one. Anything that happens around the 1 o'clock time frame is quarter two. Anything that happens around the 4 o'clock time frame is quarter three. So what we were thinking about is in between the 4 o'clock games and Sunday night football, which usually starts around 8:15-ish, we would have a show, and it would start at 7:30. And basically what it would be is a recap of everything that had happened from the Thursday games, the 1 o'clock games, and the 4 o'clock games. Now, Ted, who is the general manager of the Land Sharks, came out and said, well, what if we also included Sunday night football into that? So the fourth quarter was really just Monday night football or anybody that happened to be pushed because of scheduling conflicts, whether we have something weather or other things have happened before in the NFL. And that's not a bad idea because actually that would reduce what I'm thinking about doing for 2024 from 2 shows to 1 show. The original thought is to do the end of the third quarter. That would be the title of the show. And it would be done in between the 4 o'clock games and Sunday night football. And what that would do is it would allow us to lead right into happy hour on Sunday nights for all of us to get together online and do like we done a couple seasons ago and just watch Sunday night football with all of us together in a group in the room. And then we would still do another show on Monday night, which would basically just be any of the people who still had players left, that last minute thing of here's what they would need to still win kind of thing. It would be more of a concentration of what's about to happen on Monday night. That was going to have another show title. Right now, we don't have one for it, but that would also be on 7:30. So we would either do 2 shows, 7:30 Sunday night, end of the third quarter, and 7:30 Monday night with a title still pending, or we would take Ted's suggestion and we would take Sunday night football and include that into the third quarter, and we would do end of the third quarter before Monday night football. Don't know how we're going to play it yet. I would love suggestions to figure out what we could do on Monday night. Both shows would be fairly quick. We'd probably just pick a couple of games to highlight on both sides. Whether that would be going into Sunday night football and going into Monday night football. But what I will say is this. We've thought about this long enough that we actually created an intro for end of the third quarter while Jason was here. We still have a little bit of a tweak to do to it, but for your first time viewing it tonight, we're going to show it to you.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody's grabbing out there. Nobody's touching. Just grabbing, everybody.
So what we're trying to do is possibly lighten up the X's and O's that are moving in the background a little bit more on there to be able to give it maybe not such a distracting visual as you're watching it, and it'll be super, super short. Oh, I'm so glad you brought this up because it's like you guys are helping me out with the show tonight. You were just leading me right into the next topic because band is the very next thing we're talking about. So we have another show that we want to try to do, and it's probably not going to happen every single week because I think logistically it would be very hard for this to happen. But I think if we can make it happen 4 times throughout this actual competitive season of weeks 1 through 17 of the regular season in the NFL, that would be awesome. So I've been thinking about for a while of doing a show that is kind of like Around the Horn, if you've ever watched, and I'm pretty sure it's on ESPN, but Around the Horn where you get 4 guys together, or 4 people together, 4 people together, and we're going to discuss different topics of sports. In this case, probably just football, but I don't know. We might be able to I don't even know where I was going. Sean's message got me thinking real quick. Into the third quarter and watch out Wizard leading into Monday Night Football. You got me thinking about that so much, I completely lost thought about it. So basically we get 4 people together just like Around the Horn, and we'll talk about, maybe in this case, probably be football, but I would love to be able to open it up to all subjects. And it would be just like Around the Horn where I, as the host, would be giving out points to each one of the people that are on the show. And then after we go through a couple of rounds, we're going to cut a couple of people out. And then when we were down to our final 2, this is where we've come up with the title of the show. Completely happened by accident. I love whenever things happen that way. That's the best way that nicknames, and in this case, titles of new shows happen out. We are going to call this show Band. Why are we going to call it Band? Because what's going to happen is it's got to have a purpose if it's going to have a name like that, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do this Around the Horn type feel where we're going to have 4 people on talking about football or generic sports topics. I'm going to be keeping score on my side as the host. I'm going to be giving score to everybody. We get down to our final 2 contestants, and whoever the person is that finishes second on Band will be banned from being able to make any comments on Discord for a set amount of time. We still haven't figured out what that's going to be. Is it going to be a day? Is it going to be another whole week? Is it going to be until we have the next show, which could be 3 or 4 weeks? Either way, we're going to try to set this up. The show's going to be called Band. Now we have to put together another intro for that, and I got to do more graphic work for it, but I think it's going to be an awesome addition to all of the FSA repertoire of shows. Again, we're going to have the Fanatically Real broadcast, which is a staple on Wednesday. We're going to have end of the third quarter in some way, shape, or form, whether that's going to be on Sunday before happy hour, or if we're going to do it on Monday. Sean just gave us a great idea. Watch out Wizard leading into Monday Night Football. Possibility that we stick with that. And then we're going to have this show Band. And the way it's going to be is I'm going to line up 4 people to come online with me. We're going to have the show. We're going to do it live. I'm going to give out points. Get down to the final 2. Whoever loses that is banned from being able to make any comments on Discord for a period of time. I appreciate you all for basically feeding that to me while we were on Discord this week. I think it's a great idea. We just got to make sure that we implement all of these things that I just mentioned in the 2024 season. Other things that we are thinking about doing in the future that might not necessarily mean 2024 stuff, but could be 2025 and 2026 things. It was brought up on Discord earlier this week about adding taxi squads to the APFL. Now, I made the comment that I've never really understood the purpose of taxi squads. If you wanted to have a spot to store a couple extra people, just expand the roster a little bit more. But I think if the taxi squad had a purpose, I think it really could serve a purpose with the APFL. We have to figure out what that's going to look like. But because we've already traded picks away for the 2025 season, which I'm going to talk about that here in just a second as well, that this wouldn't be something that we would implement until the 2026 season. So if you're out there watching, the 6 of you that are there, and then you're involved in the APFL, and if you think taxi squads is something that we should bring forth in 2026, let us know, and we will start working towards that for the 2026 season. Maybe that will be implemented with a couple of other rules that we've been talking about as far as being able to trade across conferences and things like that. So add that to the list of the possibility of changes in 2026. For those of you that have traded 2025 picks, first round picks, I know that there are more than what we have on League Safe right now. I will be, starting tomorrow, adding your names to that list, and then I will be sending you a bill for you to pay for the 2025 season. As you know, if you give away a first round pick for the 2025 season, you have to pay for the 2025 season. So I will be making sure that that gets out to you all. All right, so let's talk a little bit further than just the paying for the 2025, and let's talk maybe interim in between taxi squads APFL 2026. Let's talk about some future FSA leagues that I've had in the back of my brain for a while that are starting to gain steam enough that I'm willing to mention them to you all tonight. I would like to start a league in 2025 that is called the Next 32. And I have a logo for it. I'm going to bring it up here. It's going to be a little bit hard to see because it's going to be right about there. So it's probably a little hard to see. I didn't get a chance to blow this one up tonight. Next 32. Here's what I want to do. You all know, who have been around with me for a while, know that I want to do a fan-driven league in some way, shape, or form. All of this idea is stemming from a fantasy hockey league that I found years ago called the Ice HL, where the entire league was built based on fan-driven information about what cities they were going to have teams in, what the team name was going to be, what the color of that team was going to be, and what the logo of that team was going to be. And I've always wanted to do something like that with FSA. That is what the Next 32 is. What the Next 32 is, it is the next 32 teams that currently, or next 32 cities that currently do not have an NFL team in them, but are large enough by population and large enough by television market to be able to support a team. I have already gone out and done all of that research, and I've bounced it off of AI doing the same thing for me. And there are slight differences from my list to the AI list because sometimes in California, they just get a little bit too tight, and I don't want that many teams there together. And I would like to spread this across the country if I could. So the teams for the Next 32, and I'm going to pull that graphic up right now because I have it, have already been determined as far as the cities go. The divisions that they're going to play in and the conferences that they are going to play in have already been decided as well. So what we need to do now is come up with a mascot, team name, a color scheme for it, and a logo for that team. Now, here's kind of the part that's probably going to be like, this is also leading me to a thing that I've been trying to do for a while, is to try to get that hometown feeling league, where what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do the Next 32 kind of close to where I'm located at here in Georgia. So what we're looking at doing is, for those of you that are on this part of the state and understand what this means, the CSRA area is what I'm trying to present to for the Next 32. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm stuck to that idea. I'm very much open to the idea of the Next 32 being anybody as well, especially if I find it difficult to be able to try to keep it local for the CSRA, for people I can reach out, touch, and see on a regular basis. But this league would not happen until 2025. What I would like to do is I would like to use the hype of the 2024 season to get team names and logos and colors associated with those cities for the Next 32. The rest of it would be very much ran like the APFL is. But we're just going to have the next group of 32, and it's going to have a little bit different theme. And then in 2026, now this one's going to blow your all's mind. I am working towards something that is called the ACFA, which is the Alliance Collegiate Fantasy Association. What is that going to look like? Y'all are going to, this is the time where the 6 of you that are out there, I expect to start seeing some crazy text come up. This is going to be a fantasy sports league that is ran like a college athletic department, which is going to include multiple sports to the point where we're talking 9 different sports. We're going to have football, men's and women's basketball, hockey, baseball, men's and women's soccer, men's and women's golf, and that should be the 9 that I'm talking about right there, with a possibility of expanding to volleyball if the professional volleyball league expands to the point where we can have multiple teams under it as well. This will be a year-long fantasy extravaganza is probably the best way that I can say it. There you go. I think the golf is probably going to be the easiest one for everybody to get into, that doesn't necessarily need to have a lot of knowledge of the sport because of the way that we're going to do it. Damien has his mind blown. Damien Scott, Damien Gratz says, heck yeah. And Sean says, oh, what? This is kind of what I was expecting. So here's what's going to happen. If we do this, and it's a big if, not a big if, I'm really leaning towards this. And this is coming with the help of Brent Hager, the guy who is the owner and founder of SMS. He is the guy that I've worked with USC Aiken for the last 2 years. He's been my boss. He's an amazing sports information mind. And anytime I have a question, he's the first guy that I'm going to go to ask. He's the first guy that I've gone to when I've had questions for the ACFA. So basically what we would do is football would start the season in 2026, but it would run year round. We're going to have recruiting year round based on the sport that you're at. You're playing essentially almost all year round. The only sport that's going to be a little bit different from what actually is happening at the pro level is going to be golf, since we're talking about golf. Because what I want to do is I want to play the PGA and the LPGA inside the same season that college golf NCAA is actually played. So what that's going to mean is, and this is a lot for you all to take in right now, we would lose a master on the male side, and I think we would lose a master on the, not a master, why can't I think of the word? I'm thinking masters because the masters is right here. Somebody will come up with it. A major, there we go, a major. We will lose a major on the male side, and we will lose a major on the female side with the schedule that I have on there. But basically what you would be doing is you would be an athletic director for a university, and then you would run all of these sports. And what we would do is you would have to have so many sports under your program to be able to be considered for athletic director of the year. But that athletic director of the year would come with additional cash for it, kind of like what we do with the APFL with the carryover, except for this would be guaranteed every single year. But the only way to participate in it is if you played in multiple sports. Don't know what that number is yet. So what this is going to do is, for those people that play only fantasy hockey, for those that play only fantasy basketball, for those that only play fantasy baseball, it gives them a place to get started under the umbrella of FSA with the ability to expand to all of these other sports. With 9 sports, with the possible expansion into other sports, we have the ability to go to lacrosse. We have the ability to go to rugby. Like I said already, volleyball. We just have to make sure that the professional sports out there can support the number of universities that we would have under the umbrella of this. And usually what it is we got to have double the amount of teams for the number of universities that we would have to make it work. I would love to do volleyball right from the jump, except there's only 7 professional teams that are out there. Now, one of the questions I'm surprised it hasn't been asked yet, other than Chris saying the Norsemen suck. I actually thought about that, but I don't know how we would do that. I mean, if we do that, do we use the WWE or some other entity that's out there for something like that? Or do you know of another organization that actually wrestles where it's not entertainment, where we could do that? Because I know that wrestling is like a dying sport at the university level, unfortunately. But I am open for that as well. And I'm going to put this back up there again. Chris, I'm sorry. I know it was a guy that you had talked about. I don't know if it was a guy that either one of them paid attention to. Then I know that both of them went after on both the AFC and the NFC side. So soccer, yes, men's and women's soccer will definitely be on there. Both of them will be. So one of the questions I'm surprised that I haven't got Boxing and fencing. Boxing could be a thing. And I don't know if we would find enough fencing that's out there. And then you're right. It is real football when we reference soccer. The question I was expecting everybody to answer or ask was, well, what about the fantasy aspect of all of these? We can't do fantasy if there isn't already a fantasy scoring engine that's out there. And you're right. I'm not going to go back to the 1993 days and do this by hand. So for the 9 sports that I have already picked out and done all of this work on, and I wish I could pull up the Excel document right now to show you how much work I have done on this, because it's been on my brain for, I would say I probably started this on midway through the USC Aiken baseball season last year, as far as starting to put this together. So this isn't just something I just came up with. It's 9-ish months in my brain already. All of these sports that I mentioned, the 9 that I mentioned, all have fantasy sports aspects to them out on the internet somewhere where we can use their scoring engines to be able to control all of this. Now, where will our one-stop shop be? That is still something that I'm working on. But don't think that I'm not thinking about that either, because I have 2 web programmers right now that I'm discussing this with. I really would love to see this happen, just because of the feel of it from an athletic department aspect, with all of these different sports that are there, where you can get in on certain sports, don't have to get in on all of them, gives you an opportunity to play under a cool umbrella depending on the sport you want to play. And it brings another aspect of one of the, I guess, dying brandings that we were going to have for a league. So, we had the APFL, where we have the emulation league of the NFL. And I wanted to try to do something like that at the college level as well. For some of you know that I went out there for all of the Power 5 and the Group of 5, and I started trying to do names that were close to, logos that were close to, same colors, different names, blah, blah, blah. I think this would allow us to bring that back forward, where we could have like the Ohio State Bucks, or the Penn State White Lions, or the Michigan Victors, something like that. And that could be your university versus actually using university stuff. So pickleball, you're right, seems to be a really big thing. I would love to get in and start playing pickleball, so I would understand a little bit better. If there is a professional pickleball league that comes out and we have enough teams to be able to do it with, I don't have a problem with that. Esports is actually pretty huge. I didn't realize how big esports was in the Peach Belt Conference until I went out to their website yesterday to figure out where the USC Aiken baseball team is going to be playing in the upcoming tournament. And I saw how big esports was there too. It's definitely a thing. And I know it's something that you trade, I think, over there, Chris. So I would lean on you if there was such a thing that we could add to that as well. I noticed that you did not add the M to the word Michigan there. And I really wish I had the camera up a little bit higher so you could see the Hail to the Victors right there in the fight song that I have on the wall. So there are 2 upcoming things that I would like to see happen under the umbrella of the FSA. I would love to see the next 32, whether that ends up becoming something local with the CSRA, or if we end up doing that with a bigger scope of people. But I would love to see the next 32 go. So much so I would love to see it absolutely start in 2025, because we're going to need the 2024 season to get ready for the 2025. And then the 2026 is probably going to take me all of the 2024 and 2025 season to implement for the 2026 season. But I love both of these ideas. Really, Sleeper does esports. We will have to talk offline about that a little bit more. That gives me a location for us to be able to go do it at. No problem with that whatsoever. So as we're talking about what's going to take to get to 2025 with the next 32 and what's going to take to get to 2026 for the ACFA, we have something new coming to you in 2024 that we haven't mentioned at all, because it is a secret project league and it's going to be invitation only. But we are, I would say, I can't do math right now, a little over 50% filled for the Secret Project League. If you are interested in Holy crap, Commish, what are you talking about with a secret project league for 2024? Reach out to me by DM on Discord, and I will give you more details about it. I would say probably make sure you get to me in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I would think that the secret project league should be kicking off probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Might only be League of Legends, but they do it. That would be a new world for me. I know it's done at the college level, and because that is the feel around the ACFA, I would have no problem bringing them in if it's a thing worth doing. You are absolutely, and you already know about it because as a administrator on the server, you've seen it. You're invited. I just don't know where you stand right now. You got to let us know, but you have an open invite to this league. That's it. Let me go back through everything that we've talked about so far to the day. So we've got, this is the start of the broadcast season, but not the start of the 2024 season. As we said, we've already had some behind-the-scenes stuff happening with the APFL. Thank you again to E.T., David, and Eric for taking over the Indianapolis, Philadelphia, and the Cleveland franchises in the APFL. We will be wiping the slate clean for all of the waiver wire moves in the APFL on Monday, and the first run of those will happen on Wednesday. Keep your eyes peeled to the Discord server, and you will get your details about that. Thank you to our new title sponsor, Brent. It was awesome to have you on. I don't know if you're still out there listening to this while you're sitting there updating databases for everybody and stuff like that. But thank you for coming aboard. Thank you for believing in me. I absolutely believe in you. I'm going to continue pushing the SMS stuff as far as I can until people tell me to shut up about it, and I'm still going to keep talking about it anyways. Thank you for our returning sponsors, Nature Coast Apparel and the Recast, both of them official sponsors of the FSA. We will be taking care of business between the cornhole boards and the T-shirt for the Grey Cup that's coming up very soon. I will be getting with Kevin hopefully sometime this week, and we will be talking about the regional manager selection and the general manager selections for the Wizard Redraft League for 2025. Shows for the 2024 season, the Fanatically Real broadcast into the third quarter, something to do with Monday night and band. That's all going to happen. Think about future Forest taxi squads in the APFL, maybe as early as 2026, the next 32 in 2025, and the ACFA in 2026. Don't forget about our secret project league. And when are we going to be back next show? It's not going to be next Wednesday. Even though we have started the broadcast season tonight, when we usually start these little kind of every couple of weeks or whatever, but we actually have something next Wednesday. We actually have our first game of the playoffs for my daughter's 10U soccer league. They will have the first round of the playoffs next Wednesday, so I will be unable to have a show. Keep your eyes peeled again on Discord, and I'll let you know when the next show is going to be. New leagues are fun. And Chris, I wouldn't doubt it. I'm sure we haven't talked about in that room too terribly much, and I'm sure if you've got it muted, you probably haven't seen all the chatter or whatever. It's still there for you if you want to come in and take a peek at it, and it's open for you always. New leagues are fun. I'm hoping that this one is going to be fun. Again, Secret Project League, if you're interested, reach out to us on Discord. No show next Wednesday. We'll let you know when the next show is going to be. And let's thank the sponsors. Let's thank, again, our new title sponsor, Sport Management Solutions. Thank you to our official apparel of the FSA, that is Nature Coast Apparel, and the official music of the FSA, and that is coming to you from the Recasts. If you liked tonight's show, please make sure you go and like and share and subscribe to us everywhere. We've kind of reduced our social media presence a little bit. We have gotten rid of our Twitter account. We are back down to only Instagram and Facebook, sort of, because the account got hacked last year. We can still post stuff on Instagram that goes over to Facebook, but we're not using it much. Definitely here on YouTube, make sure that you put it on here. Make sure you subscribe to the show so you'll get alerts that we will be on, so you'll know when we will be on. And then, just keep your eyes peeled on Discord for everything else that you need to know. One last thing, Chris says. He says the Norsemen suck again. What hat do you got on? I'm glad you asked. That is a Nature Coast tailgating, which is now Nature Coast apparel. I just happen to have the Nature Coast apparel sticker sitting right in front of me and show it to you all. So this is our official apparel of the FSA. Decided to put their hat on tonight. This is when they were still in the tailgating business, which they will be for us for at least one more transaction as we get those cornhole boards done for Anthony, hopefully sometime this week. Thank you all for sticking around and watching the show. Coming up on 50 minutes and 30 seconds, we will call it quits. Hit us up on Discord if you have any questions, and we will see you. And I'm just going to say at this point, next time, because we don't know when next time is going to be yet. But we will talk to you soon. Have a great evening.